Hey everyone, if you want to make your own podcast but you don't know where to begin, Spotify for Podcasters makes it super easy. They've got everything in one place, it's totally free, and you can make money while doing it. Here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start doing it today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and pretty much everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also supported, and you can even conduct polls and Q&As. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, the platform is totally free. No catch, totally free. When I wanted to start my own podcast, I did not know where to begin, and I didn't think it was even possible. And Spotify for Podcasters made it happen. They made it easy, they made it quick, and I am doing something that I love. What more can I ask for? So if you're interested in starting your own show, you can do it, and I highly recommend you give this a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Everything Kratom, the podcast about anything and everything Kratom. Great to have you with us on this Thursday morning. Hoping all is well. So today, have to take a look at this article, and I'm going to rant a little bit. I'm just giving you a heads up. It's a rant, okay? It's a ranting day. But this is, I'm getting pushed over my limit sometimes. Like, when it comes to... Okay, let's just get into it. Settle. Calm. Maybe I need to do yoga. Okay, so here we go. In the Vancouver Sun. Okay, this is a common, news outlet for Canada. So in the Vancouver Sun, there's an article that was published yesterday on February 2nd, Groundhog's Day. And it concerns a person who passed away this past year from Kratom, as they say. And I always go into this sort of thing with an open mind because I don't know, I don't know how dangerous Kratom could be. And I think that and it's something I commonly say on this podcast, like, you never want to assume that something is safe. Like, if it's somewhat new, if there's, not much research done on it. There is more research done on Kratom now. I'm feeling more and more confident about the fact that it's safe every day. However, you also have this other side where people are saying, no, it's dangerous. You find it in, overdose deaths all the time. And there are some cases where they're thinking that it's the cause of a death. And, if there's another side to an argument, that means you have to pay attention, right? Like, I guess that'd be the simplest way to put it. So I am paying attention. So when I saw this article, I read it like word for word, because I'm like, I wonder what the circumstances are. Because from my experience so far, reading these articles, reading these accounts from the families, reading about anything that has to do with someone who died, whose, death has been ruled Kratom-related, it always has something in the article at some point where I've been reading it, I've been thinking, wow, maybe Kratom does have some sort of potential for, causing fatalities on its own. And then they always mention, oh, and this person had 3 other drugs in their system. Like every time. And I keep on trying to be surprised, and I keep on trying to not see that in the article. So here's what happened with this one. As always, it is linked in the description of this episode for your viewing and review. So it's called Kratom Concerns: How a Little Known Drug Claimed the Life of a Kamloops Man. I guess that's the name of the place in Canada. Anyway, so it says the family's dealing with the knowledge their loved one ingested a substance he likely thought would assist his drug recovery when it instead contributed to his death. That's the first sentence. Now that, of course, makes us realize that this person was an addict or formerly addicted to something else. So then it says, while a record number of people in British Columbia continue to die from overdoses, the majority of which are fentanyl-related deaths, According to his coroner's report, this person's death was caused by a plant-derived opioid known as Kratom. The person, I'm just not using names, but you can see their names on there if you look at the article. This person's mother is now spreading the word about the dangers of Kratom in the hope that others don't suffer the same fate as her son. And then here it is, you guys, because I'm waiting for it, right? The coroner's report revealed this person died from a fatal mix of cocaine, kratom, diphenhydramine, and hydromorphone. Okay, that is not kratom-related death. That is kratom, diphenhydramine, cocaine, and hydromorphone-related death. There is a difference. Why is it that every time someone dies when kratom's in their system and there's freaking 10 other substances in their body, that it is a kratom-related death? It's a kratom-related death only. How is that possible, right? I'm kind of getting loopy. I'm smiling right now. I'm smiling and laughing and going loopy because I'm is someone pulling my leg right now? Okay, I can only talk this way, what I'm about to say, because I lost my brother this past year to extremely similar circumstances, so I feel like I have the right. If my brother had died as he was an addict of an overdose of multiple things found in his body, I would not single out any one of those things and be like, that's the thing that did it. I would not do that. And I had to think about that for 10 years watching my brother go through addiction. There were many times where I thought he did die. And I had to think about that and think about, what's the thing that's going to do it? It's a terrible way to think, but after a while you get used to it. And you get, as a family member, as someone who's really close, he was my only brother, my only sibling. And I had to get used to thinking about the fact that he might die one day from something, and I wondered what it would be. If he had died from a mix of 12 different substances, 3 different substances, 2 different substances, I wouldn't have said, oh, that one is the one that did it. I would say it was all of the things that he took, and they combined in a bad way, and also possibly, he's been in bad health for a number of years now, and so he's probably compromised to begin with. There's a lot of things going into it. So this just, not that it caught me off guard, it's just, I was really trying to believe in this one, Oh, anyway. So what's in here? So you have hydromorphone, which is an opioid, and that's used to treat pain. And then you have diphenhydramine, which is like Benadryl, and people take large amounts of that and trip out, and that can be really dangerous when you combine that with alcohol, for instance. I've never even bothered to look up what happens when you combine a really recreational dose of diphenhydramine with cocaine or kratom or hydromorphone. Then you have cocaine and then you have kratom. So I keep reading, right? It says the combined effects of metragenine, kratom, diphenhydramine, and hydromorphone can cause life-threatening respiratory depression and failure, the coroner's report reads. The amount of cocaine in this person's system was described as within a concentration associated with recreational use, while diphenhydramine and hydromorphone were within a therapeutic range. The amount of kratom, however, was within the range associated with fatalities. Here's another thing about this article. What does that mean? What is that range? Could you please tell us? What's the range of the amount of kratom that is within the range of fatalities? Because people have died with different amounts of kratom in their system all over the place. And usually that's because they have all these other different things. Unless, now here's the thing, and this is kind of going back to the conversation I had with Tristan last week. We talked about how there isn't much, that maybe there should be more of a warning around concentrations, right? Extracts. And I completely agree with that. It could be that this person took 10 shots of kratom extract that might be another story. I might look at that and be like, okay, he took an absurd amount of kratom. That's, obviously something that might be a huge contributing factor to this, But, spoiler alert, that's not what he did. So I'll keep reading. Then it says, so the person, his parents were shocked to learn of their son's death being caused by kratom. They assumed that his death would have been caused by an opioid like fentanyl. It says the night before he died, he had taken cocaine, returned at home about 1:30 a.m. He passed his father in the hall on his way to bed at 6 a.m. Said he had used, but said he was feeling fine. They checked in on their son later that morning, and he was gone. Says, according to the coroner's report, upon examination of his room by the attending coroner, drug paraphernalia was found, including a paper flap with white residue, a drug baggie, a small bag of green-brown powder, a pill with white powder, and text messages about acquiring illicit drugs. There was no evidence of traumatic injury or foul play. A package of powder police seized from the room had the words Red MD, which is a type of kratom, so I'm assuming that's Red Mangda, and 50 grams handwritten on it. Although the kratom is what killed him, we also know he took it with good intentions. And they noted that knowledge comforts them. So the first thing I have to say is, I don't mean to be coming at this family or being mean to them. My family was in the same position last year, almost to the day. So none of what I'm talking about, full disclosure, none of what I'm talking about right now has anything to do with them. This is, my frustration is with the way that this is being classified, and just dismissing any other factors. But I totally feel for the family. And I also am not saying that kratom I'm not saying that it didn't contribute to this person's death. It very well might have. Obviously, it was one of the primary factors in play. But when you have 5 other factors that are very much important, it's like you are singling out. By singling out kratom, you are taking away from the actual research that could be done to figure out how dangerous kratom was here. Because it could very well be that kratom combined with one of these things in particular is the thing that killed this poor person, who was trying to just get over their addiction but just was having a tough time. But we don't know that because it's this is just being classified as a kratom-related death. It's okay, well, I guess that doesn't help at all with figuring out how it might be dangerous if it is. Of course, I don't know. The other thing about this, it seems to me that there might even be other things happening here, because it says, upon examination of his room, drug paraphernalia was found, including a paper flap with white residue. Okay, what is that? A drug baggie. Okay, what is that? What's a drug baggie? What is a drug baggie? Okay, a drug baggie that's empty? One of those small plastic ones that could have anything in them? Or is it a baggie full of drugs? I don't get it. A small bag of green-brown powder. Okay, see, that sounds kind of like it might be kratom, but we don't know. A pill with white powder. What is that? And text messages about acquiring illicit drugs. So he might have acquired other things. And then it says that they found this bag with the words Red MD on it, Red Mangda likely, and 50 grams handwritten on it. That does not sound like a package from, an approved company. So it's the kratom that he took, was it only kratom? We don't know. And it doesn't help much that he had a few other substances in his body already. It's just muddying the water further. So I could keep going through this thing. I am not going to, because it's a good long article. You can read it for yourself. I think I covered the gist of it, but I'm certainly not trying to gloss over anything or take away from any of the research or whatever that they cover. They talk about in this article the number of people who are reported to poison control in British Columbia, reporting kratom-related poisoning. I mean, like, there's information here that you should definitely look at if you're worried about kratom in any way, including 1,800 reports in the United States, poison control centers, yada yada, from 2011 2017. It's the same facts that we know, but just wanted to let you know that they're in there. The last thing is, it also says British Columbia Coroner's Service has detected kratom in 11 fatal overdoses across the province since 2019. Of those, 3 involved a potentially fatal concentration. Again, what is that? It says the majority of overdose deaths involving kratom included traces of multiple drugs. There you have it, folks. It's just this is my ranting day, so I do apologize. If, like, it seems very strange to me, and this is why it's strange to me. I'm sorry I'm not verbalizing this well. It's not like this is necessarily a concerted effort to bash kratom, right? Because, like, I mean, I do believe that exists out there, you know, for sure, that exists. But then you're looking at Canada in this part of British Columbia. This coroner's office is not, I don't believe, part of this grand conspiracy against kratom. Like, I don't think that. I think they're just doing their job. Why is it that this random coroner's office classifies this death as a kratom-related death? That is the mystery to me. This happens over and over and over again, and it's like you have a number of substances in there. What? Because the amount of because they did a line of cocaine versus like 12 lines of cocaine couldn't have been a factor? Is that the reasoning? I don't get it. The other thing is that, you know, I'd be interested to know what the heck is going on with this kratom. It's in this handwritten bag. I'd like to know where that came from, and I think that the family should know that as well, because I am all for regulating the way that kratom is produced. Like, it needs to be clean, right? It needs to be clean, needs to be done cleanly. It can't be cut with things. Perhaps even have a bit of a limit on the concentrations, if not more of a limit. You know, the percentages of the alkaloids in there. Like, it totally needs to be a regulated industry in terms of like how it's produced and handled, because it's, you know, you got people's health in your hands, and that's important. But like, why is this the only factor of someone's death when it's found? And when they say in the same article that out of the 11 cases that they found kratom involved in, a majority of which they had multiple substances. And this isn't that specific, so we don't even know if, like, there are a few of those, you know, that only had kratom, because it could have been kratom and another substance. We just know that a majority of them had multiple substances. Anyway, there goes the rant. Now I'm feeling a bit better because I took it all out on you all. Oh, man. I do apologize. I don't like doing rants too often. I like to kind of discuss things, but today I was feeling a little bit feisty. Don't know what else to say. I have no excuse. So, again, the article's in the description of this podcast. Do your research, you know, never take anything without taking it with a grain of salt, because you don't know. I mean, there's always risks to everything, and I in no way, shape, or form am saying that kratom doesn't have risks involved, or that it wasn't even involved in this person's death. I'm just confused and expressing my frustration in the fact that why can't we just cover this realistically, just like any other substance, just like the 3 other ones that the person had in their body that we know of. So I will leave it at that. Thanks so much for listening in today. And of course, we'll be back tomorrow to finish out the week. And if you're in the line of this huge winter storm coming across the country right now, enjoy the snow. All right, take care. Bye-bye.